In this video, I'm making a whimsical painting of a fighting crab. So let's jump into it. This whole project was prompted after a vacation trip to the coast of Georgia, where my son encountered a blue crab. He promptly told me that all that crab wanted to do was battle, and I thought that was kind of funny because, yeah, that's kind of the nature of crabs. There's not too many other animals in the animal kingdom that are ready to scrap with you all the time. So that prompted the idea for a raging crab, maybe a scrapping crab. So right now I'm just sketching out the general shape of a crab. Not completely perfect, but kind of just the general outline to figure out where things are and to go from there. It took me a really long time to find the reference photo for this. Couldn't quite figure out what kind of position I wanted the crab to be in, but finally we settled on this top-down view, thinking that it would give the most kind of whimsical look to a crab. My son later told me that I should have made the crab in more of like a fighting pose, but I think this one's pretty cool too. So right now I'm just boxing in all the areas, trying to get all the general proportions right and darken in some of the lines. I've put lines in just to kind of figure out where the placement of things are, and now I'm trying to rough in the shapes. Again, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect because it's kind of more of a whimsical crab anyway, but as long as people get the idea, that's more of what I'm looking for. Around this time, I started thinking about what I should add to the crab to make him more of a scrappy battle crab, and the first thing that came to mind were tattoos, of course. So I added in this anchor tattoo on his left arm, a little bandage over his eye, and some tally marks on his right arm, just to show the number of fights he'd been in, maybe a little scar on his back here. And this is when I started to put in the boxing gloves. I knew from the beginning I wanted him to have boxing gloves, but I couldn't quite figure out where I wanted those to be. So we put some on the outside and I put some on the inside, trying to change the shape, and nothing was quite looking right until finally I came up with this design. I had found a reference for it, and I just put the boxing gloves over his right hand, kind of draped over his right hand. And I think it works pretty good. Let me know what you guys think. This is the line drawing. So then I pulled my watercolors and we started coming in with the watercolors. This was kind of a little bit of trial and error. It was just an underlayer, so some of it's really light, and in some of the areas I wanted it to go a little bit darker. He is a blue crab after all, so we put in some blue for the arms, and some tan for the outer part of the claws. I keep calling them arms, but they're really claws. Or pinchers. Are they pinchers? I don't know. So adding some intense blue. Again, this will be the under part of the painting. We're just trying to blend together the heavy parts or the intense parts and the not intense parts. Here I'm putting in the color for the back, and it was kind of like a brownish color. So I went with like a reddish brown to like orangey edges. Yeah, and then I tried to lift up some of the paint in the middle to make it appear a little bit lighter, and darkened up the edges to give it some contrast. Again, everything's super light, but it was just the under part. I planned to put some more stuff over top of it. So again, adding in some blues here, and then putting some red around the edges to give it try to give it a little bit of a glow. It kind of worked, kind of didn't work. And then adding in the red on the tip of the claw. These blue crabs look really cool. They've got a ton of different colors, which makes them kind of fun to paint or draw. So now I'm adding in the red for the boxing gloves, and I wanted to put in the bright red and then a shadow side to give it a little bit more form. Make them look a little bit more three-dimensional. This is the part of the painting where some people are probably going to say that I messed it up, and you're probably just going to have to let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. But I start coming in here with the Posca pens, or Posca pens, I don't know how you say that, but the paint pens. I start coming over my drawing and adding in some bright parts. I may have gone a little bit heavy with the red. I really like the red. So I came in and tried to highlight some of the areas that were red. I came in with this yellow, thinking it was going to do a little bit more than it did, and I had to go over it with red and try to like taper it down because it was a little too intense. But after I went over it with the red, I went in with the black, and I didn't have a really thin black marker, so I had to use the thicker black paint pen, and I just outlined everything in black. Again, I'm not sure if this ended up ruining the overall piece or if it ends up adding to the piece, giving it kind of a graphic quality. I kind of like it, but also there are some parts that I wish maybe were a little bit thinner. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. This one was pretty fun to draw, and it was fun to share a moment with my son and an idea that he had inspired. So here I'm just outlining the last little bits, the tattoos, little things like that. And I thought at this point that it needed something for the background. So I ended up taking a light wash and putting it behind the crab just to finish it up. Again, this one was pretty fun to paint and draw. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one.